Yeah.
Hi, I'm Mahesh Katti. I'm sure by now most of you know who I am. A film critic, but considered controversial film critic, whatever it means. Yeah, I speak my mind. I don't want to curb my emotion or reason that I want to give out to my people. That's why sometimes other people feel it hurtful, possibly. But at the end of the day, it is their responsibility to take care of their own emotions, and it is my responsibility to air my opinions. Yes, we can always have agreements, disagreements, and also have heated arguments, but things are seem to be getting out of hand. People simply want to shut me off, which is undemocratic, of course. That's where I come from in terms of thinking. I am an Ambedkarite. I am a person who believes in constitution and democracy. That includes fundamental right to freedom of expression. I stand for that and fight for that. I don't ask people not to do anything. I only say don't cross your limits in terms of legality. That is because that is what the cornerstone of democracy, and we need to follow certain rules because we are living in society. Even if I cross those rules, as you might assume, there is always law that takes care of it, and lawful means are the only means that are rightful. That is the kind of thinking that I would like to share and spread. Now I am open to a question about anything regarding any issue that I am involved in recent times. Looking forward for questions to answer.
So a lot has been made of the Ramayana controversy. About people are saying that you insulted Lord Rama and all of that. Would you like to set the record straight, sir, and give your version?
Record is pretty much straight. It is people who twisted it and understood it differently. In one of the television discussions related to Babu Gogineni's cases, he was also accused of talking about dharma or religion, and also deities, religious deities. So, in one of the contexts, someone asked me, Babu Gogineni is of an opinion that Sita would have been better off with Ravana. I shared my opinion saying, okay, for me, Ramayana also is a text. In that, whatever the greatness attributed to Rama, I also see a lot of him being a cheat. I used a word called Dagulbaji in Telugu, which means cheat, Mosagadu in Telugu again. Somehow people caught on to it and said it's an abuse. See, when criticism is a democratic process and also it's a secular process. In that, if you are analyzing a text, the text, I am qualifying a character with certain attributes, say adjectives. One of the adjective essentially is the way he dubiously did few things, Rama as a character, and I qualify him as a cheat. So qualifying him as a cheat, as a literary character, amounts to literary criticism, not abuse. This fundamental difference people seem to be not getting, or maybe they don't want to for their own political reasons. And also the second part of it is, I also feel that Sita would have been better off with Ravana. That is essentially about the Ramayana as a source of text. Sita came out of Rama won over Ravana and brought Sita back, and he asked her to get into fire to prove her chastity, whatever it means in these days. Uh, Somehow I felt it is unjustified, and also in spite of she coming out of fire unharmed, he got married to her, and later on someone in their Rajya, is in their country, accused her of being of a character, questionable character. So Rama again deserted her into jungle. I feel again it is unjustified and not acceptable to me as a person who believes in human rights and feminist ideology. So that's why I feel Ravana, in spite of she being there in Lanka for quite some time, he didn't harm her, he didn't rape her. He was waiting for her approval, and he's a rich king, and he took care of his wives well. Mandodari is his wife, and there are a lot of contexts where Rama is proved to be a better husband than Rama. So Ram being with Ravana could have been justified, or maybe she would have had a happy life. Is my conclusion out of the text. So people somehow feel that also offensive. If you look at Valmiki Ramayana, translated into Telugu version is what I read. In that, after winning the war, when Sita comes to, when approaches Rama, Rama says that I won you over simply because I had to satisfy pride of my clan. He belongs to Ikshwaka clan. Ikshwaka people won't let their enemies take away their wives. So obviously the fight was about his honor rather than saving Sita. Then he says, see, I can't take you as in marriage again because I don't know what kind of eye Ravana has set on you, and I don't know whether you are pure or not. So you are still beautiful, you are still civilized. You can go to anyone, including Lakshmana, Bharata, Sugriva, and Vibhishana. So Rama gives a choice to Sita to go away with anyone else except him. So when Rama himself in Valmiki Ramayana says such kind of things to a woman, as a person reading, a secular person reading a text, coming to a conclusion, and also a feminist, coming to a conclusion that Sita would have been better off with Ravana is a very justifiable understanding, justifiable reading of the text. If that also gets objectionable because Sita is Mata for a lot of people, I tell them that you need to understand and brush up your own sense of religion and religious texts, because most of the Hindus don't read Ramayana or Mahabharata. If you have read, I'm sure you would have agreed with me or maybe disagree more justifiably, or maybe providing me with certain more maybe knowledge, because see, we all come to conclusions in our lives based on the knowledge that we have. If you have better knowledge, and better knowledge should make me more civilized, more educated, I'm always welcome. Instead, making it a political issue, RSS, VHP, PJP people threatening, Bajrang Dal people going and filing a case against me, all those things are fine. Filing a case is something, a choice. Anyone can do it, and I can defend myself in the court of law. But passing death threat, including Nagababu, Paripurnananda Swami, I'm like, they are the ones who are actually inciting violence against me. And also they are the ones who are creating unrest in the society in the name of religion. So, and how come these people represent Hinduism is a bigger question to me, because they say crores of Hindus are hurt. Where are these crores? Where did the people get their numbers from? Whom do they represent? Do they really represent them? All those things are questions. I see nothing but a political propaganda by using Rama's name rather than coming out with a more logical, more reasonable discussion about the text itself. I'm very open about that. And if I start quoting Valmiki, I'm sure they will have more Abhishtu to say, because there is a lot that is said in Valmiki Ramayana. And Valmiki Ramayana is a kavya to invoke rasa spandana rather than your own judgment about character and life and deriving lessons out of it. And most of the people don't know of it.
Sir, a lot of people are arguing that Ramayana is not just a text, it is like, how the Bible is for Christians and Quran is for Muslims. Even Nagababu was recently saying that. So do you feel that, and people are saying that you have heard the sentiments of the whole community and not just a text or something like that. So what is your response?
Who decided that Ramayana is a religious text to Hindus? That's a book to follow. Do you want to follow Rama? I don't know in what way. In this life, in a very lawful, democratic life, how do you want to follow Rama? Do you want to suspect your wife? Do you want to ask her to get into fire? Do you want to desert her when she is pregnant? In what way you want to do that? You want to kill someone by hiding behind the tree like Wali? Or do you want to kill Shambhuka, who is a Dalit educated person? And Rama can't bear his education and cut him off. So are these the principles that we want to believe in Ramayana at this juncture, at this stage of democratic India? I don't know in what way he is so aspirational as a hero. So obviously if some people want to follow him, that is a choice. But you can't say that this is the Hindu text and you need to follow it to the word. Is something which is very abnormal, I would say, and undemocratic, for sure. And again, coming to sentiments of people, people have a right to hurt their sentiments. And I have a right to hurt your sentiments. what is the point of freedom of expression if I don't say what I want to say? If you put on a bindi in your head, it hurts me because I am an atheist. So would you stop doing it? So obviously, each one has their own space. As long as I don't encroach yours and you don't encroach mine, that is fine. Now we are talking about crores of people. I mean, like, how many crores of people have read Ramayana? In a country where literacy rate is less than 50%, you are talking about a religious text which no one knows when it is written. Actually, even if you go by history, it is Pushyamitra's time that Ramayana is actually penned down. Earlier, it was told orally. Oral traditions, no one knows whether it's the text or any other text, and how many of additions were made into this text, and whether Valmiki actually told those texts or not, is something which is highly questionable. So how can you make anything sacrosanct by saying that this is the text? And then why are you not accepting whatever the availability of Valmiki Ramayana that has? It clearly says Rama used to booze. He used to consume alcohol. Obviously, he is a king. King has their own indulgences. And he also used to spend time with Antahpura Kanta, his slaves that he had, woman slaves that he had in his Antahpura. So he is a womanizer in that way. Do you want to accept that? And two, it's clearly said in Valmiki Ramayana what kind of meat Rama used to enjoy eating. It is peacock meat, it is beef, and also it is like other wild animals that we are talking about. So he will be arrested today if he does this. So what do you want to really follow that? So have you actually read Valmiki Ramayana, whatever the version that is available? So the sanitized version of Ramayana came in much later. Everyone knows it as the Tulsi Ramayana or Ramcharitmanas. Ramcharitmanas was written in 16th century, where it is historically recorded, so we can clearly quote. In that, for the first time in history, we see Rama's story is told with certain moral indulgence to it. It clearly justifies that a word called Maryada Purushottama Rama, who is an ideal he and ideal man for this society. We should also understand it in the context of Muslim rule. That is when Delhi Sultanates have increasingly had their own share of authority over India, and majority being Hindus, had their own defense mechanism. They wanted to show that we are better than Muslims, or maybe we have a different culture than Muslims. So earlier we also had multiple wives being there in life, and most of the kings are married many times, and most of our gods on record are married many times. So why do you have any problem with this kind of a culture? Now they wanted to establish a culture as a propaganda. That is when Tulsi Ramayana came in very handy. Ideal he, ideal wife, ideal brother, ideal sevak, whatnot. I mean, like all that idealism that is imposed upon us. Fine, I don't have a problem with that too. But that idealism, would it stand at this point in time, is my question. So, do you want to follow those things?
Sir, there is also a lot, when you are giving your stand, whenever we go to the other side, it is followed with a lot of aggression. They're like, I'll take a slipper and hit him, I will
kill
burning
me,
effigies.
burn me.
And, blatant death threats also. Personality like Nagbabu is saying that if the government doesn't take action, we don't know what can happen. Hindus will react in their way. So, which is, in other words, inciting violence against you. Do you think all this aggression is also because you belong from the SC community, and is there an underlying caste factor involved in all of this?
Absolutely. See, we can't deny caste in Indian society, where our very foundations of socio-economic political structure is caste. And a person from so-called lower caste or Dalit, as we would like to call ourselves, the dominant caste can't tolerate. If dominant caste do the same questioning, they'll be called open-minded, they'll be called progressive. But the luxury of being progressive is not there with Dalits. That's precisely is the problem. If you look at the history itself, in our own Telugu land, Chalam questioned Rama. And he literally he used more than harsh words that they have used to talk about Rama and Krishna. But there is no response from the society because he is a born Brahmin. He might have rejected, but he is a born Brahmin. And Ranganayakama, who has written Ramayana Vishavruksha, someone wrote Ramayana Kalpavruksha, and the critique of that book, or Ramayana itself, is Ramayana Vishavruksha. In that she clearly says and literally bullies Rama and sillifies him literally, saying that how silly the character is and how undesirable the character is and how foolish and ridiculous the character is. Then no one responds because she is a Velama, upper caste Velama. And there is Arudra who questions vehemently about the very existence of Ramayana as it is right now. People say, no, this is the Ramayana. He questions and says there are more than 80 kinds of Ramayana in the knowledge of human culture. And so he talks about Bauddha Ramayana, he talks about Jaina Ramayana, he talks about Southeast Asian Ramayana, where there are a lot of permutations, combinations in terms of how Rama was and how Rama is. In Bauddha Ramayana, Rama and Sita are sisters and they had an incestuous relationship. Understandably so, because Egyptians, pharaohs always had incestual relationships, and that is not new to us. In Bauddha Ramayana, Rama and Lakshmana both get married to Sita. So, if you want to get offended by all these things, please go read, get yourself educated. But when all these things are being told by upper caste, you don't have a problem. And why not? Even Babu Gogineni, of course, there are cases registered against him. But he is still hailed as an Abhyudayavadi, right? He is a progressive person. But when it comes to me, it becomes abusive, which actually is not. And I never use abusive words because I have very sound reason and ration to follow. I'm a rational person. I can argue with you for how many hours you are free with. And instead of understanding that my point of view, if you look at the Dalit point of view or a South Indian Dravidian point of view, Ramayana is looked at very different text, because Rama is considered as an aggressor who came here to establish his kingdom, and Ravana as a local king who is resisting him. And why did Ravana actually bring in Sita into his fold? Simply because he was insulted and his sister was humiliated. So he had his own reasons. So there was, and also he is called Ravana Brahma. So even as a text, the interpretation from South India, whether it is Kamba Ramayana, Periyar's interpretation of Ramayana, all those things have a different perspective altogether, Dalit and Dravidian perspective. If I am questioning a text from that point of view, people don't seem to have a stomach for it. But one thing I am very sure and want to tell you, that you prepare that what you call this appetite for that kind of a criticism, because this is the time when Dalits are rising up and we have our own knowledge systems and we have our own thinking, and is that Ambedkar's riddles of Ramayana comes very handy with us. And there are innumerable people who have already done their bit of research on this text and handed over to us, and we can use those things to question you. So prepare for question rather than threatening me and shutting me off, because you can't shut me off by threatening for sure.
So there is a section of people who are commenting, who are calling you a TDP stooge, because you've been raising questions against Pawan Kalyan, and also you have gone against the BJP Bajrang Dal side of ideology by taking on Ram. So they are saying that this is a TDP conspiracy and you are one of their foot soldiers. So would you like to comment on this?
So when I started questioning Pawan Kalyan was very much part of Telugudesam. He was a supporter of Telugudesam. So then I should be a YCP stooge. I still keep questioning that idiot called Pawan Kalyan because of his political reasons, because of his the claritylessness of his politics. And each speech is a fun game for me. And I keep looking at it and laughing out loud, and then keep sharing my opinions. So in what way it becomes a TDP mission, I don't understand. And from the day I remember, I am a Dalit and I am against Hindutva ideology, as a political Hindutva ideology. And from past 10-20 years, BJP has risen its ideology into a most dangerous proportions. And we all know Kalburgi, Gauri Lankesh, Pansare, all those things are Hindu killings, and I am against them. Whether TDP is with BJP or they are not with BJP, I am against BJP. So my political ideology is very clear, and it is nothing to do with political parties, but political ideologies. So if people understand that small little thing, I'm sure they'll stop attributing me to a party and looking at it as a conspiracy level. I have also heard a lot of people saying, no, this guy is not a Hindu, this guy is a Christian, funded by Christian missionaries. How can you decide that? That is not only an accusation, but I can get into a defamation suit, because I'm a Hindu born Dalit, and I refuse religion. See, having non-religious is different from anti-religion. I am non-religious, but my birth and my social identity don't change because I stopped believing God. It also doesn't mean, say, I believe that in a reformistic kind of a mode where I need to search my rights where I have lost them. In Hinduism has been literally being suppressive and literally killing Dalits for raising their voice and not giving a space in the religion that I am born into. I need to fight the religion being in the religion. So I don't want to shift my religion or run away to any other religion. I want to fight it here. I want to claim my rights here. So I am a Hindu, though I may not be believing in God. And let me tell you, not believing in God is not sin in Hinduism. Charvakas have done it, and Charvaka is part of Hindu Sankhyana text, or like maybe the questioning clan that we can think of. So obviously, you people don't know what Hinduism is, and I do. And I am a better Hindu than you are simply because I believe in humanity. I believe in live and let live. So what kind of people, Hindus are you guys? If you say you want to kill someone for the opinion that they have, in what better way you became Hindu righteously? I don't really understand. So obviously think it's neither political. It is, if at all it is political in terms of ideology, not in terms of political party. That is something which people should get into their heads.
So there are a lot of people, questioning timing of your suddenly taking up Ram issue, saying you just want to be in controversy and that you may want to join politics. This is why you are starting this whole thing. So would you like to respond to?
So people should understand, if at all they look at timing as a conspiracy, did the timing brought in by me? Did I manipulate the time? Someone filed a case against Babu Gogineni, not me, right? Someone questioned me about Babu Gogineni's opinion, not me, right? I only shared my opinion. Sharing my opinion is not inciting violence. Sharing my opinion is not insulting anyone. And you want to make an issue out of it. Is that your political game or mine? So I have shared my opinion, and I would share it anyway. Whoever asks now, how out here people are asking me my opinion, I'm airing out. So if you want to say this is I want to create a controversy, go to hell. Think whatever you want to think. But I am a person who want to express myself freely and fearfully wherever I am, and I will do that. I will continue to do that. There is no timing or there is no conspiracy behind it.
Regarding the whole Nagababu comment, we've always seen online abuse, trolls, saying whatever they want under the garb of anonymity, and they sometimes dangerous threats also. But when a public figure makes similar type of threats, then suddenly it emboldens these trolls to perhaps take things to the next level also, since they follow him. So do you think this is setting a dangerous trend where celebrities who are encouraging people not to follow the law of the land and instead take it into their own hands, or suggesting in a way?
So I essentially pity Nagababu because he doesn't know anything. Whether it's I'm like a poor guy who doesn't understand law, who tries to defend his brother possibly. That's why he wanted to speak out. And he claims that he's a secular Hindu, and I haven't heard him speak when Muslims are being killed for their beef eating practices, and I haven't seen him speaking for Dalits when they are being tortured and beheaded and not allowed into temple. What kind of a Hindu he is? He wants to claim Hinduism right now. And he also says that my family follows Rama, we believe in all that. And in what kind of a practice does his family do of Rama? His brother is thrice married, right? Haven't he heard something called as Ekapatni Vrata in Ramayana? And Rama is supposed to be his ideal, and what is he doing in the family? So obviously these people, one, they don't know Ramayana, they don't know Rama, not even as a text, leave alone believing them. If you believe someone, you are supposed to practice it, right? And you don't do that. And you only claim it is required that you are Rama Bhakta and you want to behead someone who abuses Rama. And he doesn't even dare to take my name. I'm sure he knows if he takes my name, it will attract legal consequences. And he prefers to call me Nichudu, which again is a reference to Dalit identity. And says like such kind of nichas will exist and abusing Rama. So wake up, Nagababu, and also you say that okay, like people might take law into their hands. Are you suggesting them for that? So he should be very careful as a public person to come out and instigate violence of this kind. Either he is innocent or an idiot, whatever the choice that you want to make. But whatever he is doing is not right, and it will only be damaging your brother's political career. Your community has already been against Dalits. You should also understand that in a political reality of Andhra Pradesh, it is Kapus and Madigas and Malas can make a better political choice than anyone else. In this kind of a scenario, you are only spoiling your brother's opportunity to join Dalit forces, and you are damaging yourself and your family. If I start talking about your family, that is something which you don't want to hear.
Sir, I think you will be most qualified to say this, but the cyber abuse, I think, is getting a little out of hand. I think government is trying to put in measures, maybe to curb fake news, and also today I was reading news article where they are trying to keep trolls in check or keep a sort of a guideline where they can prevent this. Do you think it is much needed? Because if you look at Renu Desai, for instance, very recently, she decided to get engaged to somebody, and she was trolled mercilessly by Pavan Kalyan's trolls. So, do you think it is very much needed for these trolls online to put in check before something dangerous happens?
So something dangerous already started happening, because instead of people using their democratic process or maybe right to fundamental expression into a proper use, they are misusing, abusing, and trolls are part of that abuse. Self-regulatory is something which we always aspired, because state, like when there was a section about cyber trolling, state started misusing it to their own vendetta. So that's precisely why Supreme Court did not disallowed that kind of a provision. But if you start this kind of malicious campaigns online and passing death threats, thinking that it doesn't attract law, we are only going to be in jeopardy, because it is our rights which are going to be curbed further. If there is any law, people want to use it against someone. I would still urge that yes, the space is very right, because a lot of campaigns, social campaigns are run on social media, and a lot of justice also is done through this media. A lot of discussions which are otherwise can't happen in mainstream media are possible online. So better use of this kind of a medium is advised to anybody for the betterment of democracy. But if you want to curb democratic values by using this medium is something which people should think over. I would still say restrain, control, have certain democratic ideology in terms of using these media, rather than allowing state to start controlling it. Because I have seen bad use of state by these kind of laws. So let us be more democratic. Yeah, of course, there is resilience that we all need to have in terms of tolerance levels that we need to increase. But yes, it is going bit overboard, where people start deciding lives of people, their ideologies, their lifestyle, and their choices of in life. All those things are something which are like overstep in this process. Yes, I have been abused, accused, threatened online, but I would still want this democratic space to exist. I would only urge people not to misuse it and abuse it for our own good. If we want to stay democratic and also fight against state is no goody thing. I mean, like, state always is in India is against people. If people want to oppose state, also this is the only medium that is left to us. So please make responsible use of it. Start thinking more democratically. Allow dissent to happen. So without dissent, without challenge, without questioning the dominant paradigm, changes won't happen in the country like India. And we are no country of revolutions. We are a country of small changes. Let the small changes happen out here. I would only urge and request people to be more democratic.
Sir, also given the nature of threats against you and how sensitive religion is in a country like India, have you considered maybe protection or taking legal action yourself against those who are inciting violence against you?
So I somehow believe that these people are who are threatening me are fringe elements and the lumpen elements within the large framework. I am a free man, I move freely, and there are a lot of believers whom I interact. they don't have a problem with whatever I have said. So for me, there is no reason to believe that I am under a great threat. There are few lumpen elements which are trying to make it a political issue and draw some political mileage out of it. Yes, they are also dangerous, whether it is a VHP, RSS are no less dangerous. They are ISIS of India. So I am afraid that such kind of people might do anything. It's a brute force and not they don't think about anything. So yes, I have informed police about whatever is happening. I believe that state is taking responsibility of protecting me and looking at whatever the threats that are being issued against me, and they have due diligence in terms of what kind of protection they should give it to me. In large, if you look at from a larger picture, it is 99% sanity and 1% insanity. I am still hopeful that 99% who actually believing in Rama know what I am talking about, and their sentiments are not hurt because they are believers. So they believe in something, and their beliefs are not hurt by one guy's like imagination or maybe a reading or a criticism of Ramayana, because it is the belief from the childhood that they are carrying. And also they won't get hurt because they know what they believe in. So it is these 1% people who try to make an issue out of it. And so that's why I think I'm more protected in the society, and I'm a free man in the society, thanks to both state as well as people who are more sane than such kind of insane idiots.
There is one school of thought which says that you have taken on something like Rama, which is a religious sensitive topic in India, and still you are able to roam freely because there is the powerful political thing supporting you or protecting you, ensuring your protection, a political angle to it. So would you like to respond to that?
No, we should understand that if I am so politically powerful, I don't know. Anyway, the imagination is good. I wish I were to be. See, what I spoke is within the very limits of Constitution. State understands that. State understands that this is you can't penalize me over those things. Then 295A, 505, 2. Those are not sections that attract to whatever I have done. People with some legal understanding would know that these are, in the court of law, they don't stand a chance. So that's why state is a bit lenient in terms of saying, okay, let the discussion happen. Let it not simmer into kind of a social unrest. Is something which they are very careful about, and they are taking care of it. I am a law-abiding citizen, and I don't need any extra political clout to cover what I have been doing, because it's there in open, and I am very sure that it is protected by law, and that is well within my own rights. Actually, others who are opposing me are not well within their rights, not well within the law. So I am sure it is not power of the state, but it is power of Constitution of India that I am shielded with.
Okay, so you have any closing remarks to make and a message to your detractors as well as those who follow you?
See, a simple thing. People who believe in Rama, I don't have any issue with it, and I am sure they don't have any issue with me. People who want to use Rama as a political weapon, they have a problem with it because right now BJP, RSS, VHP are very much weak in Andhra and Telangana. They want to have their own piece of cake in terms of politics and want to use this scenario. I am sure most of the believers also know how these things are twisted. And I have been clearly saying what I have said is about Ramayana as a text. Whatever my knowledge of Ramayana of a text. If people who are really believing and people who have already read Ramayana, they are welcome to educate me and make me a better person, better knowledgeable on Ramayana, and make my beliefs change. See, it is about my own understanding, right? You can change my understanding, and I'm open to any kind of an idea and any kind of reading of Ramayana. So people, rational people, and also believers don't have a problem with these two propositions. People who have problem with this one is one who want to use it for political mileage. They will do what they want to do. They'll try to break you. They'll try to say that I have abused and they want you to attack me. So don't get into that kind of political rhetoric, and try to be in our own sanity and believe in God. I don't have a problem with it, and I'm sure not believing should not be a problem with you.
Okay, last question. We have somebody called Ricky Romeo asking you, when are you meeting YS Jagan?
Okay, I'll be meeting Chandrababu Naidu, I'll be meeting Y.S. Jagan, I'll also be meeting Pawan Kalyan because I'm interested in Andhra Pradesh politics. These are the three primary leaders that I see. I'll be meeting all of them and see if whoever will accommodate, I'll be there running for office.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.